Alright guys, I thought I'd share with you a day in the life of an English teacher out here in Thailand, and every day begins and ends with a cup of coffee, so cheers. Hey guys, it's great to see you again. I hope all is well with you. Those of you who are regulars to this channel will know that my name is Ben and I've been living in Thailand for around 5 years. The majority of that time I have been working in a school as an English teacher, and that is kind of what this channel is all about. So I talk about living and working abroad, specifically here in Thailand, and I thought one of the best ways to show you what it would be like, to maybe give you some idea for those of you who are considering moving to Thailand and working as a teacher, I thought I could sort of show you the average day for me. I thought that might be valuable for you if you're potentially considering moving out here and doing that, or going somewhere and teaching English overseas as a TEFL teacher. Maybe you would like a breakdown of the average day. So I thought I would do just that in this video and give you a day in the life of a foreign teacher here in Thailand. So every working day starts the exact same for me. I wake up around 6:30, get ready for work, make some coffee, and I actually don't drink coffee at home. I take it with me to work for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons is I like to get into the office early, and then I like to have my coffee then while I'm planning my day, while I'm sat in the office at work. I also heard on another podcast that delaying your first coffee in the morning can help reduce sort of a caffeine crash in the afternoon. I'm not sure if that is real, but I still do it. I enjoy having my coffee at work. So yeah, wake up at 6:30, brew some coffee, drive to work. My drive to work on a scooter takes around 20 minutes. I live a little bit of a way from the school currently. I used to live a lot closer when I was at my previous school, but yeah, 20-minute drive to school for me. And I have to be at school before 7:50 a.m. So already in this video, that may be a little bit surprising to you. That may sound very early. I remember when I was at school myself in the UK, we didn't start school till about 9 a.m. I don't think was my first class when I had to be there as a student. I imagine the teachers were there around 8 or half 8 or something like that. So I guess it is similar. So like I said, I like to get in a little bit early. I probably get there around somewhere between 7:30 and 7:40, depending on traffic. And that gives me a little bit of time in the morning to plan my lessons, like I just said. And it's pretty typical you will have an office working as a foreign teacher in Thailand. Most teachers, if you're working as a foreign teacher on an English program in Thailand, you won't be with one class, although that is possible. Some teachers do. They're typically called homeroom teachers, and that means they stay in one classroom all day with that class. And what's more common, I found, is that you will be in your office, then you will go to different classes at different times. So for me, that's what I do at this current school. So I have an office. I had an office at my previous school as well. So yeah, it's pretty common that you will do that. In my current office, there are 6 teachers. 5 of us are foreign teachers on the English program. There's 1 Thai teacher in my office at the moment. The office, you will probably get a desk and a chair. There should be air conditioner in your office. In my current office, we also have a bathroom, which is good, I guess. I didn't have that in my previous school. However, this current school doesn't actually have Wi-Fi in the office, so that's a bit of an issue. We have to use our Wi-Fi hotspots on our phone. That's actually not that common. I would expect Wi-Fi. I don't know why my school doesn't have Wi-Fi. They used to, apparently, and they've been promising us that it'll come back, but so far it has not come back since I've been working there. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that can come up, when you're working out here, sometimes you will find things like you don't have Wi-Fi, perhaps. We don't have a printer in our office either. Like I said, I did at my previous school. My previous school's office was actually much better equipped. We had a shared fridge, Wi-Fi, a computer, and a printer. Here we don't have any of those things. Just the desk, just the chair. Like I said, there is air conditioner. It's pretty comfortable in there, and I'm not really in there that much anyway, so it's not too much of an issue. However, like I said, in the mornings I get in there, get in the office. We have to be in the office before 7:50. But yeah, just to give you a bit of an idea, I wasn't really expecting to be spending so much time in an office. When I first came out here, I thought I'd be in the classroom all day. But that's not the case here. I do get quite a few office hours throughout the day. So like I mentioned, I have to be in school at 7:50 a.m. and I can leave school at 4 p.m. So that is a total of 8 hours per day, 5 days a week that I'm in school. I'm not teaching all that time, but that is the time that I have to be in school. So that roughly comes to around 40 hours per week that I have to be physically at the school. Although on my lunch break, I can leave the school. At this school, at my previous school, we weren't allowed to go off premise, but there were a few cafes at that school. This school doesn't have those facilities, so obviously we have to be able to leave the premise on our lunch break. Like I've mentioned a few times now, I have to be in work by 7:50 a.m., but I don't start teaching until 8:20 a.m. So my first class is at 8:20 a.m. So I do have a little bit of time in the morning to get prepared, get things ready. Sometimes I do have to do an assembly in that time. So sometimes, roughly once a week, I have to do an assembly. That's 20 minutes in the morning. So that would be from 8 a.m. until 8:20. At my previous school, I also had to do an assembly in the morning once a week, roughly. So yeah, that is something that you may have to expect and add on to those working hours when you're considering if you want to work and move to a country like Thailand and start teaching English. So it's something else that may not be listed in your working hours, that maybe a little bit of an add-on that you have to sort of prepare for. My schedule is actually the same every day. So I have 5 50-minute classes per day. So 5 50-minute classes per day is just over 4 hours teaching per day that I do. So roughly I'm teaching 4 hours and 10 minutes per day, and that equals roughly 21 hours per week. So for me, I'm in school physically 40 hours per week. So that's 7:50 a.m. until 4 p.m. But I'm not teaching all that time. I'm teaching for roughly 21 of those 40 hours per week. I think this is pretty typical. So maybe when you're considering job offers perhaps, and you're looking at salary, those are the kind of hours you can roughly expect. Like I mentioned, I do get an hour lunch break every day, and I am offered a free lunch at school, so I can show you some of that and give you an example of what that's like. Most of the time it's not too bad and I can eat it. Occasionally there's some stuff that doesn't appeal to me. Like I said, I can leave and go out and get lunch somewhere else. So that's something else that brings the cost down. I do typically go for the school lunch. It's free each day. And also my lunch break isn't complete without a trip out to 7-Eleven for a second coffee of the day. So yeah, I go out and get an iced coffee from 7 on my lunch break typically as well. Like I mentioned, on top of those hours that we just broke down, I do have 1 assembly per week pretty much. Although I actually have 3 assemblies per month, just because of the amount of assemblies we have to do and the amount of teachers on my English program. It breaks down to 3 per month, so I'm not doing them every week. I do get 1 week of the month where I don't have to do assembly. At my previous school, I did have to do an assembly once every week, and that was just a different rota that they had. Assemblies are pretty simple. It's like 20 minutes. Typically, we'll play a game or do like a mini English activity or something like that in the mornings with all the students. So you are in front of a lot of kids. You're in front of students you won't know. So yes, that's something else that is an addition to all the teaching hours that you're doing. And it does make a difference, actually, especially in the morning for your first few classes, because you've got to do this assembly and then you get to go straight to your classes from that. So yeah, it does actually make it, it does actually affect me a little bit. It makes me a bit more tired, makes it the mornings a little bit more difficult when I do have assemblies. Also in my contract, and again, this is something that is pretty typical for Thailand. I don't know about other countries, but I do have to do a certain amount of English camps per year. So in my contract, I have 2 English camps per year. So this is just something else to bear in mind, that you may have to add on to your total working hours when considering the workload for teaching in a foreign country. So an English camp is essentially, well, at my current school, it is like on a Saturday typically, and it's like 9 a.m. till 12 in the afternoon. And yeah, usually it's just like an English class. You'll have a large group of students who've paid some money to come for an extra English class, and you have to do a few extra English classes on that day. So like I said, in my contract, it's expected that on top of my workload, I will have to attend like 2 per year of these English camps. On top of that, if they wanted to do any more, they would be optional and I would get paid for them. There are a lot of paid opportunities to do different English camps. If you keep your ear to the ground, you may get offered them from your school, from your agency and so on. But like I said, I have to do 2 per year for free that are written into my contract. But actually this year I've only had to do 1, so maybe the other one will prop up before the end of the year. Fingers crossed. I'll get away with just 1 this year. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the school. So my school is absolutely massive. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 different buildings. I'm not even sure. Typically I'm only really in 2. So I have 1 over here, which is where my office is and where the majority of the English program teaches. However, my classes just happen not to be in that building this year. So I'm in a different building, this big round building, where there's a massive amount of classrooms. I don't even know how many classrooms there are. There are a lot in this building at my school, and this is only going from kindergarten to primary 2. If you pass primary 2, you would be in a completely other building, which I go to even less, but the photocopy room's over there, so I do have to go to this other large building. sometimes. But yeah, so the school is really large, it's really sprawling. Oftentimes in Thailand, the schools will go from kindergarten all the way up to like university age before they will probably leave to go to a university. But that's like, yeah, from 3 years old all the way up to 18-year-olds in the same school often. So it is pretty typical to have absolutely massive campuses, absolutely massive buildings, like that is the case for me. Classrooms vary massively from building to building, and even within the same building they seem to vary. So they vary even from school to school much more, I would assume. In my classrooms at this school, some of the classrooms have chalkboards, some of them have whiteboards. Pretty much all of them have somewhere where you can draw on a board for the students to see. So yeah, you may be using a chalkboard in some rooms, whiteboard in others. Most of the classrooms do have projectors. I think pretty much all of them do. They don't have computers. You have to kind of take your laptop in, and there's a HDMI cable to connect you to the projector. Sadly, some of the classrooms have slightly older projectors, and they have a different cable. So yeah, I had to buy an adapter, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, it's that kind of adapter with the where you push it in, and then there's like 2 screws. It's a really old adapter you've probably seen if you've ever had a big desktop back in the day. I think I can't remember what it's called actually, the cable type. But yeah, so that's something else that oftentimes, so things like this will trip you up out here. So yeah, make sure you go and recce out the classroom before you start teaching if you're just starting at a new school, because you won't need to know you've got the right cables and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, most of the classrooms, I think pretty much all the classrooms do actually have projectors in my school. Funnily enough, not all of them have air conditioner, which is pretty annoying. One of my classrooms this year does not have air conditioning. Last year, one of my classrooms did not have air conditioning, a different classroom. I have no idea why this is. Some of the classrooms just don't have air conditioner at my current school. This wasn't the case at my previous school, I don't think. I never noticed any classrooms without air conditioner. But yeah, this is something else that maybe pop up. It makes my job a lot harder in that classroom when there's no air conditioner. So it's something else to consider when you're looking for a job. Some schools won't even turn the air conditioner on in the morning. They'll be trying to like budget their electricity bill and that kind of thing. I've had that before, the way you have to turn the office aircon off in the morning and sort of before you finished at work as well. Pretty uncomfortable. But yeah, currently one of my classrooms doesn't have air conditioning, but my office I can leave it on all day, which is fortunate. Typically in my school, at my current school, I would expect to have around 30 to 40 students in each class. Out here in Thailand, you could get a lot more students than that. You could get up to like 50 or 60. I've heard stories of that much. I've never really experienced that myself, although I do currently have like 35, so I nearly have 40 in one of my classes. So that's not uncommon to have like that amount of students. It's probably what you can expect. Like I mentioned, my schedule is the same every day, so I have that 8-10. So in the morning, I basically have like a double. So I'm teaching 8:20 until 9:10, which is my first period, then 9:10 until 10 a.m. I then have a break, so there's like a break, all the kids have a break, we have a 30-minute break. Then at 10:30 I have a class, 10:30 until 11:20. Now my lunch is actually a little bit earlier than most people, so I often get a free period as well next to my lunch break, which is brilliant because it extends my lunch break. So those are my first free 50-minute classes in the morning. I then have the lunch break, which is an hour plus a class, so it's like an hour 50 I fortunately get. Like I said, go for the free school lunch or go to a cafe or something, sort myself out. I then have 2 more classes, so I have to come back for 1 p.m. So I'm working 1 p.m. until 1:50, and then my last class is always 1:50 until 2:40. So I'm actually finished teaching every day at 2:40 p.m. which is cool. I can't leave school yet. Like I said, I have to be in school until 4 p.m. So that means I have some time in the office. I can go and prepare for my next day or go and get some photocopying done. Sometimes we have meetings. Often we have meetings in that period because lots of people are free towards the end of the day. So yeah, 2:40 until 4 p.m. I'm back in the office, back in the aircon, which is cool. Those are pretty typical working hours, I would say. At my previous school, I was actually working more. I had to work 7:30 until 5. I wasn't allowed to leave campus in that time as well, so that was a long day. I was teaching less, funnily enough, but I was in school much longer. So I actually prefer this. I actually prefer to be teaching more, but having a shorter day in terms of when I have to physically be at school. Once I'm finished at work at 4 p.m, I typically go home. Usually, like tonight, I'll be ordering some food, so I'll be getting that to deliver to me. Food delivery is pretty cheap here in Thailand. That's one of my favorite things about living here, to be honest. And then yeah, do some activities. So yeah, tonight football. So I'll be heading out playing some football later, which I absolutely love. I'm very much looking forward to that. Play football Tuesdays and Mondays, once on a Thai team, once with a group of foreigners, like a social foreigners for all the foreign people who live here. We all get together and have a kickabout, and those are my 2 favourite days. I look forward to them all week. So cheers. I hope that gives you a little bit of a better understanding of what a typical day as an English teacher in Thailand looks like, feels like, smells like. Maybe you found that useful. If you're wondering why I'm out here in Thailand, why I decided to quit my job, leave and run away to Thailand, then I'll leave a link to that video right here, so it should be on your screen. So yeah, click that video right there if you want to know, if you want to hear that story. That's a whole other story.